There was a window of opportunity, possibly. We had a deputy respond to this location on August 13th. We are currently trying to determine the situation of that response, determine what the deputy did on scene at that time with the tipster that received the information from, and we continue to be thorough as possible in order to determine the circumstances on that afternoon, which was on August 13th at about approximately 4:30 to 5 in the afternoon. We'll continue to follow up on the circumstances here and try to make a determination as to what occurred. One of the things that we do want to state is the fact that we will continue, we do not want that to reflect on the hard work that is being done by the crime scene investigators here currently, scouring the location and continuing to follow up here today.
Angela, how far were the skeletal remains found from the previous skeletal remains, and are they still the consistency of a small child?
They are. The skeletal remains are still the consistency of a small child. I do not have distance, but again, they were found on the outer perimeter of our grid pattern. We continue to scour that area with an area that was cleared yesterday. When that area was cleared, we continue to look. Crime scene investigators continue to do their grid pattern, scour the area, sift through that material, and discovered additional skeletal remains.
So are you saying that there... On August 13th, can you tell us a little more about it? Was it called in anonymously, or was it someone...
The tip that was received on August 13th was the same individual that reported the findings on December 11th. It was the same individual that called into the communications center and called us this past Thursday that made the discovery. We had 3 tips from that individual. We are trying to determine the circumstances and the thoroughness of the detective or the deputy that responded that day, and will continue to do so in the coming days.
Is this something, so in other words, a deputy came out here, supposedly responded to this tip, and at this point you don't have a paper trail or are looking for a paper trail as to how that tip was followed up?
That's correct. We're looking at the circumstances, at the response of the tip. We also are looking at the response time, what occurred at that time. We'll interview the deputy. We've spoken to the deputy to try and determine his thoroughness as well. And as we've also followed up with the tipster as well. So those are all the things that will be conducted in the coming days through an administrative follow-up.
Same individual.
Yes, sir.
Did I follow this correctly? It was the utility worker who made the tip, and then the utility worker made the discovery?
The utility worker made a call to us back on August 13th, which was followed up by a deputy who responded to the scene. We're trying to investigate the thoroughness of that response, the thoroughness of the investigation at that time, which was cleared with no further action. The discovery was found this past Thursday was by the same individual. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I can't hear everybody at the same time. Yes, ma'am. Utility worker? No, it's the meter reader that provided us the information on Thursday was the same individual that provided us the information on August 13th. We are continuing to follow up on his information. We are obtaining additional information and statements from him in order to make sure that we completely understand the circumstances and the timeline. At this point, we don't have a suspect at this point. He has provided information. He is very cooperative. There's no indication at this point that he would be. Yes, sir.
Give you some description as to why he made that report back on August 13th? What's the background?
The information that we have at this point, he called on the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. He provided several phone calls to our crime line as well as our communications center. That is currently we are following up on that sequence to determine the thoroughness of the response here to the scene, and we'll go ahead and determine that based on our follow-up, administrative follow-up, as well as the scene here at hand. I don't want, one of the things that I know that there's a lot of questions regarding the thoroughness of that response on August 13th and the follow-up that was conducted. But I also want to reiterate the hard work and the deliberateness of the first search that is being conducted here today. Immediately when the skull was found of the small child on Thursday, the scene was secured. We immediately provided a perimeter of the area and continued to conduct a crime scene investigation, which we continue to this day.
Was it the water at that time, and do you think that he went back the other day to look more thoroughly just because it was nagging at him?
We understand that just preliminary information that there may have been some water present. but yes, that he did return, obviously, because of his curiosity.
Are you looking into the possibility he may have had a prior knowledge relationship with Caylee Anthony?
We'll look at all the possibilities, but at this point, we are just looking at the incident that occurred on the 13th, the follow-up, the discovery on the 11th of this month. There's nothing at this point that would indicate any foul.
And it's quite an odyssey that this has happened by the same utility worker coming out once again. Is there concern, obviously, that someone is going to be responsible here as it relates to the person taking the call? The authorities, the deputies who came out to respond.
That's why we are looking at it, and I have stated emphatically here this afternoon that we are looking into that. One of the things that we'll do is conduct an administrative follow-up, try to determine what occurred with the deputy, when he responded out to the scene, why he handled himself how he did, and we'll go ahead and handle that situation based on the circumstances, based on the information we received. Obviously, we also re-interview the tipster that provided the information back in August 13th, which is the same tipster that provided us the information on December 11th.
And he has suggested that he went in there. He told the officers he went into the woods, deep into the woods, to relieve himself. Is that now in question, what he was doing there?
Again, we're going to follow up on it and make a determination based on the information that we're receiving. Again, it is very early. This information just came to light not long ago. So we are carefully moving methodically also, as we have with this investigation. We just want to be able to provide the information to you, be thorough as possible, make sure that we're doing everything that we can to provide clarity to our action and what is occurring out here at the scene. Yes.
There was some indication that we got early on today that this worker was actually using county time to make this search, to make this find for Caylee Anthony, and not doing what he was supposed to be doing at work. That he was using company time to search for Caylee Anthony.
Well, that information is something that I'm not privy to at this time. Obviously, the county worker will have to answer to his supervisors as to his activities while he was supposed to be working. It may be of interest to us, obviously, so that we can follow up on that. But again, let's not lose sight of the fact that we have a small child here that's been discovered. This is very important information. This is very something that we need to deliberately follow up on. But the importance of the situation is that we continue to work the scene here. As I've stated, we have an additional discovery this evening or late this afternoon regarding additional skeletal remains. That needs to be our priority currently. It is the priority of our crime scene investigators here at the scene and our investigative officers and our team here at the scene. One of the things that I do want to reiterate again also is the fact that we have a small child. A small child's body has been located here.
Based on this, Angelo, how much of those remains did you find today, and were there any other items holding anything significant in addition to these stolen items?
I know. Yes, there has been. In regards to the skeletal remains, we have had other items that have been located that are significant. We'll continue to scour the area and continue to conduct our search deliberately, methodically, and carefully as we have the last several days. We will only release the scene when it is proper and appropriate to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Between the utility worker and Caylee?
And so we are hearing from the Orange County Sheriff's Department new information. They're continuing to look for remains. In fact, they have found more significant skeletal remains believed to be the body of Caylee Anthony, of course, first discovered a week ago in a wooded area just about a half a mile away from where she lived with her mother, who is in jail right now, charged with first-degree murder. But this new revelation that there were a series of tips from a county worker back August 11th, 12th, and 13th, and the Sheriff's Department now currently looking into whether they were properly followed up on. We're going to continue